Have you ever watched one of those true crime shows with your mother and just wondered, how the hell did all of this happen? Well, that's what the majority of Americans are thinking right now with the assassination of the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. As I'm pretty sure most of you are aware, the alleged perpetrator is Luigi Mangione. Now, before I get in too deep here, remember, Luigi has not been proven guilty of anything. As most of the internet seems to not understand, there is a huge difference between being charged with something and being convicted with something. So, now that all that's out of the way, let's get into the video. And of course, we need to start off with, who is the man himself? Luigi Mangione, who has taken the internet by storm. So, as always, if you're following this channel, which you should be, drop a like and subscribe. We're gonna get into our data science mode right quick, which is funny because that's not far off what he did for a living. Alrighty, so, Luigi Mangione is a 26-year-old former UPenn, that's the University of Pennsylvania if you don't know, graduate of the class of 2020 in computer science. Not only was he just a normal graduate, he was the valedictorian of his class, as he was back in high school as well. He also worked as a data engineer 3 at TrueCar. I'm not quite sure what the 3 means, but he was a data engineer 3. Like, of course, he's a f***ing computer science graduate. You know, he was probably just upset that every job position has 4,000 qualified applicants. That's just what's going on here. So, seeing as he's a typical R/CS majors guy, of course, he had a LinkedIn page. And the LinkedIn page has been removed, but somebody on Reddit has the screenshot, so let's look at that. So according to Reddit, this is interesting as fuck. That's literally the subreddit's name, by the way. So we can see Luigi Mangione, data engineer at TrueCar Inc. TrueCar Inc. in the University of Pennsylvania. Now, 800 plus connections. I got 3. I was feeling pretty proud of my 3 connections. He's got 800 plus. So we see here, UI programming intern, teaching assistant, head counselor, artificial intelligence teaching assistant, founder, president, project lead. Then we get to the TrueCar data engineer 1, 2, and 3. This dude had a stacked resume, so I find that much funnier about what's going to go on. And pay attention here. Pay attention to the photo that is used on his LinkedIn. Trust me, you need to know this for later. It's absolutely hilarious. I mean, the dude is exactly what you'd expect of the typical CS majors on Reddit. You know, at least he's not the 50-year-old guy posting about a fake salary on r/salary. Oh, hell no! Hell no! Since he allegedly hunted down and killed this man, which, again, we don't know for sure that this is what happened. I want to make that clear to everyone watching. Do not make assumptions until something is proven. That's extremely important, especially in society today. So apparently he had chronic back pain, and this is where the story gets insane. So you would think, oh, I have chronic back pain. You know, that sucks. I'm not going to be able to walk as easily or move as easily in general, and sleeping is going to suck. Our boy here, the reason that he got so mad is because he couldn't have sex anymore. So he isn't actually an incel like most people are saying. He is what I like to call a backcel. Back aches can't come cell, allegedly. So since he couldn't participate in any of the challenges Lily Phillips was cooking up, this is when he allegedly hunted down the CEO. And interestingly enough, leading up to this incident, he went missing for 4 entire months. No one knew where he was. No one could contact him. Just disappeared off the grid, like kidnapped by aliens type shit. So you may be wondering, how did all of this unfold? And I think that's a very good question. So according to all of this, again, allegedly, I found an article from USA Today that actually is extremely helpful in learning this, where they went down each step one by one with the times given by the New York City Police Department. So it begins. He allegedly arrives in New York City wearing the mask that you can see in a lot of the pictures. Then he used a midtown bus to travel all the way across the city. Now 260,000 people use these buses per day, so any kind of suspicious activity, not that there's any reported, would be really hard to pick up on, especially considering this is New York City. Like, you saw the Instagram reels. So he used the bus to travel to an Upper West Side inn where he would spend the night leading up to the incident. He would also use a fake ID here under the name Mark Rosario from New Jersey. So this is where we can see the ID here. There's nothing out of the ordinary about it. It just looks like a New Jersey driver's license. I mean, if I was looking at it, I would just think, yep, that's Mark Rosario from New Jersey. It doesn't look out of the ordinary. So at 5:34 a.m., and now all of these times that I'm about to mention are Eastern time zone, which you'd expect from New York City, he traveled on an e-bike 3 miles south. After that, from 5:54 a.m. to 6:45 a.m., he was just apparently around outside of the hotel where Brian Thompson would be at. He was just there. During the time where he was allegedly just messing around outside of the hotel, he went to a Starbucks apparently and bought a granola bar and a bottle of water at 6:15 a.m. So at 6:45 a.m., this is where he allegedly, game ended the CEO with what is apparently called a ghost gun. Now, I didn't know what a ghost gun was, so I looked it up. It's basically a 3D printed gun, and they're highly illegal. So now I can be a data scientist once more. Who is the CEO in this story? So, healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, a former CPA, unironically what I'm studying for, he climbed the corporate ladder as you'd expect through multiple positions before he reached the CEO of United Healthcare. Now, let me let you in on a little secret here. This man is no saint. He was arrested for a DUI. That's not that big of a deal, let's be real. The dude did sign off, though, on an action plan that cost thousands of lives because he denied healthcare to many people. Now, let me explain to you how this works. Basically, if you get nailed by a Ford F-150, it was probably a pre-existing condition because you had, truck-itis or whatever. It was going to happen. I mean, you had to know that you were going to get hit by the truck. They can't be expected to cover that. And according to this post that I found on Reddit, so take it with a couple grains of salt, Buddy was facing up to $5 million in charges and 20 years in prison for what he did. Also, his wife's name is Polly. So, like Polly from Family Guy? That one?
Big fat Polly?
Yeah, I'm Big Fat Polly.
Now this is where the story starts to get extremely weird. Apparently, Brian Thompson had guards with him. But where were the guards when he got shot? Nobody knows. You know what? Maybe he laid them off like the other 800 employees. So he walked out onto the street, and this is where we get the security camera footage of him getting mowed down. So allegedly after this, the gunman went on the run for multiple days all across the country. He made it a few states over. He made it to Pennsylvania. He was allegedly at McDonald's when he was bagged. Now, the way he was caught, a McDonald's employee called the Popo, trying to get the $60,000 reward. Now, I guess the man forgot he lived in the U.S., so instead of the $60,000, he got a firm handshake and an extra shift at McDonald's. Now, what makes this funnier, I found this photo of him with a Happy Meal. This is not from the day. Luigi was allegedly picked up wearing the same clothes as we can see in the video, and he had the same gun on him, allegedly, and he gave the cops the same fake ID, allegedly. Allegedly, he also had a copy of his manifesto on him. Now, I found on the internet someone saying they have a copy of his manifesto, so let's read that. Now, it's 3:03 in the morning while I'm recording this, so I'm going to misspeak a lot, I'm sure, while reading this. Quote, "To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and my to-do list that illuminate the gist of what it is. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info on there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it simply had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the US has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world. Yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. United is indecipherable, largest company in the US by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown. But as our life expectancy? No. The reality is these indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful as they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument, but many have illuminated the corruption and greed decades ago, and these problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Now, I will say I find it funny that he said that he was going to run out of paper. Like, motherfucker, just buy another piece of paper. So, as I mentioned earlier, after he was allegedly caught, he has a big-ass internet footprint, like realistically every single person on the planet does. And because of this, after he was caught, he became like the Henry Cavill to all these girls. What this reminds me of, do you know who Cameron Herron is? The dude who wrecked his Mustang while he was attempting to street race and killed a mother and her infant daughter, and everyone on the internet said, "Oh, but he's too cute to go to jail." No. That's basically what this reminds me of, although the one dude 100% wrecked his car and hit the people. This is just, again, alleged. We don't have proof of anything. So according to an AI survey, so take this one with an entire salt mine, 1 in 4 Americans supported what allegedly happened. And as a byproduct of his popularity, I discovered a TikTok video while looking through Reddit where someone created a workout routine based on him. So if we check this out, let's see what this workout routine is. Let's see, workout routine. 6:44 a.m., do some very unathletic stretching. Then run. Look at a cop car. Run. Get to an e-bike. Get on that e-bike. Ride that e-bike. Keep riding that e-bike. And you're at the park. And you threw your bag down. And you threw away the e-bike. And now you're running again. This man looks like he's very out of breath while running. I don't think he does much exercising. 7:30 a.m. Do chin-ups. 2 chin-ups. Then go to a McDonald's. Skip the login. Get a lot of scrambled eggs, because you need that cholesterol so you could build your testosterone. Then this is where you get bagged, apparently. Now you run. And that's the workout routine. So, I'm guessing Sam Selleck is going to be trying that sometime soon. Now, unfortunately for a lot of the simps on the internet, I discovered that apparently he is 5'7". Now, on his fake ID, he said 5'10". Regardless, that's a 5 and not a 6.
It matters to you?
Yes.
We're gonna measure your waist.
Oh, I don't want to measure my waist.
So how do you think short guys feel when you judge them based on something they can't change? Because you can change your waist size and yet you feel uncomfortable.
Have a great night.
I also found an article from the New York Times. Apparently, people are sending him love letters while he's in prison. Now, this isn't anything new. This happens very often with public cases like this, where people will send letters and fan art and they're asking for autographs to anyone in jail, regardless of whether they've been convicted or, like in this case, where they've just been charged, because, again, nothing is proven. Now, speaking of his popularity, I discovered another article which is much funnier than the last one. So if we read this, it says, Disney-themed dance party uses Luigi Mangione photos as a backdrop while playing Hannah Montana's He Could Be the One. Oh, I wish there was a video of this so bad. Let me break it down for you. And continuing with the internet footprint, I discovered he had a Goodreads account. And unfortunately, some privated his account, so we can't check it. Except for the fact that someone, and I never thought I would say this, some hero on Reddit has the screenshots. So when we're looking through his Goodreads account, or at least the screenshots that now exist of him, we see the 4-Hour Work Week, and a lot of books similar to this that he's written long reviews on. But what I find the most interesting is on the last page, boom, The Lorax, 4.35 out of 5. I love that The Lorax is on here so much. I don't know why, but it's just so kind of out of place. I love it. He was also allegedly a very big fan of Theodore Kaczynski. Now, if you don't know who Theodore Kaczynski is he's also known as the f***ing Unabomber. Oh, and even better. Allegedly, now this one there's a f***ing video of, He's a master skateboarder. So if we check this out, you see he's riding through the parking lot, boom, jump over that. Slide up over here, boom. Oh, that's epic. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about skateboarding, but that shit's cool. So as I continued to learn more information, I learned something very interesting. He was apparently f***ing loaded. His grandparents owned a large chain of lodges all across the United States, making them very, very wealthy. Like, it just makes it kind of odd that, dude, like, you could afford Cobra if you wanted to for every month for the rest of your life. Like, this doesn't even affect you, I guess. And while he was in high school, he attended a school that cost $37,000 a year. Now, when I was in high school, people were upset that a prom ticket cost $15. You know, you can see the conflict of two worlds right here. Oh, and speaking of high school, I found his yearbook photo. So while scrolling through Instagram, I found this where it says, Luigi Mangione, best at pickup lines. So you see, when I was in high school, I didn't win any awards because nobody liked me. So I would be the best at nothing.
No. Anyway.
Now, speaking of his family, his mother called the police 2 days before he was caught and said, quote, he could have done the shooting. And as you can imagine, it being the internet, it f***ing exploded. So we know he was like Scrooge McDuck swimming around in wealth, and that just makes this thing way more interesting. Now, from this post I found on Reddit, she filed a missing persons report in San Francisco 2.5 weeks before the incident in New York. So people are kind of going absolutely berserk over this. Why would you wait almost like 4 months when your kid has gone missing and you can't contact him? It's been months. But at the same time, I can see this from the other perspective of, I mean, your kid's a genius. He's on his own. Like, he's a fully grown adult. I do think it's odd that you waited multiple months to contact someone, but I can kind of see why you wouldn't. Oh. And this is where it gets extremely interesting. So after he was arrested, he was transported to a different prison. Guess which prison he was transported to? That's right, the same prison as Diddy and Sam Bankman-Fried. So I assume you know who Diddy is, and we've already gone over Luigi. So if you don't know who Sam Bankman-Fried is, he's a crypto scammer. He owned the company called FTX, which cost Tom Brady $30 million when it tanked. And as you can expect, all three of them are quite obviously in solitary confinement for... It's fairly obvious why they're in solitary confinement. Like, it's like times like these that I swear if Batman turns out to be real, I wouldn't question it. It would make total sense if Batman is real right about now. So I found this post on Reddit where they broke down the math. It cost New York $56,000 to transport him to Diddy jail. Now we come to the segment I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting so patiently for, and I thank you for waiting this far. Please drop a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed. We are going to break down all of the photos. So obviously this isn't all of the photos. A lot of them are missing because there'd be thousands of photos. So you can see, okay, the top left is blurry, but this is where people get confused. So let me zoom in for you here. You can see where people are saying, okay, this isn't the same person. And I can kind of see where they're coming from, but at the same time, I see the other side of the argument of, these are two completely different angles. One of them is from up here, kind of, to facing down on you, and the other one is more straight on, as with a mugshot. Now, January 18th, 2025 is when Luigi is set to have his preliminary hearings, and of course, I'll be here for that, so will you. This is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, to see what new evidence is going to come out, and stay tuned because I'm going to have a video on that. And one last little rabbit hole that I discovered, apparently the Department of Justice may be considering the death penalty for this, so this is just adding fuel to the fire of what's gonna happen. So obviously, nothing in this video is proven to be true at all. This is just what I was able to find on the internet during my deep dive and what I've heard, and just compiling it all so it's easier for you to understand. The most important thing to remember about this, innocent until proven guilty. That is extremely important. He is not guilty of anything yet. Now, We'll find out. January 25th is the first, like I said, the preliminary hearings, and then after that, we'll start to get the whole court case, and we'll understand more as time goes on. And also, make sure you stay tuned, because the video after this, I'm gonna be discussing the hot Tua girl and the crypto thing that's going on, which is just, I mean, it's freaking ridiculous, everything that's going on in the world right now. And one last thing, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, because this should be coming out on or very near Christmas. And Happy New Year if nothing else comes out, but like I said, the crypto scam, and I have about 2 more videos that should be coming out before New Year's, and then January is going to be a crazy month packed full of stuff. So thank you all for watching this video, stay tuned for the next ones, and peace out. Give a quick disclaimer here. Nothing has... God, I need water.